Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Today we are going to discuss God in Vedanta. How does Vedanta look at the Supreme Reality? There are 3 steps in Vedanta: Dvaita, Vishishta Dvaita and Advaita. We will come to this. God is viewed in all these steps according to the standpoint of the viewer, according to the position of the Jiva exactly. Actually speaking, in the highest system of Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, there is nothing second to Brahman. There is nothing second to it. It is non-dual absolute truth. It is the very nature of existence, one undivided pure consciousness. But this pure consciousness, in conjunction with Maya, can appear as Ishvara. That is the personal aspect of God. It can be Sagun, it can be Nirgun, it can be Sakar, it can be Nirakar, it can be with attributes, without attributes, it can be with a form, it can be formless. It can appear in all these ways. Vivekananda used to say, Ishvara is the highest reading of Brahman through the human intellect. So, in conjunction with Maya, and Maya has 2 aspects, Samashti and Vyashti, Brahman appears as Ishvara in conjunction with the Samashti Maya. So the definition, actually the technical definition is Samashti Ajnana Upahita Chaitanyam is Ishvara. That consciousness which is in conjunction with Samashti Ajnan, but who lords over it, but who expresses himself as Ishvara, as a kind of personalized aspect of Brahman through this conjunction, but he is the Lord of Maya. He is the actual cause of causes. He is the Upadana, he is the actual Karana, what is called, the supreme Karana of the universe. And he is the Karma Phala Data. He is the giver of the fruits of action to all Jivas. Jiva is that entity, that consciousness which is confined by Vyashti Maya. The Jiva, the individual aspect of Maya, it cannot lord over that aspect. It is under that aspect. This is the definition of the Jiva, the individualized being. The individualized entity is that we are. So, Ishvara is the Karma Phala Data of the Jivas. He is the giver of the fruits of actions. Again, he is the Kapala Mochan. He can remove the fruit, the effects of our karma also. He is Mayatit. He is above Maya. And he is the cause of all causes. He is the supreme power behind this universe. He is actually the creator, sustainer and dissolver of this universe and all universes. So his power is great, incomparable. He is the infinite one who can come in infinite forms, in infinite ways, according to the need of the devotee, according to the need of the aspiring Jiva. This is confirmed by the Bhagavad Gita, which is the essence of the Upanishads. Bhagavad Gita says, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Ye yathamam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. As my devotee wishes, according to his needs and desires, I manifest accordingly. I come to him like that. So you see, Ishvara can take any form. And he comes according to our need. Technically speaking, in Vedanta, 2 types of causes are recognized. What is called the Upadana Karana and the Nimitta Karana. Upadana Karana actually means the material cause of something. And Nimitta Karana means the intelligent cause or efficient cause of something. Like for example, if we take a pot, the Upadana Karana or material cause for that pot is clay. But the Nimitta Karana, the actual creator of that pot is the potter. Now, these 2 can be different in case of the pot. isn't it? The clay is different from the potter, but it is not so actually, they say. The efficient cause and the material cause can be the same. Like, for example, they will give you the example of a spider and its web. You see, the spider web is created by the spider and out of material produced from its own self, from its own body. So this is given in the Mundaka Upanishad. Yathornanabhi srijate ghrunate cha yatha prithivya aushadaya sambhavanti yatha purushat keshalomani tatha aksharat sambhavati vishwam. Even as a spider spins a web, even as vegetation grows on earth, produced by the earth only, even as hair grows on the human body, so also from Akshar, from that which is imperishable, Brahman has arisen this world of manifestation, this entire Vishwam. So you see, the Upadana and Nimitta Karanas can be the same. And Advaita Vedanta will go even further and say, not just that, he has verily become all this. It is Brahman only manifested as all this world of manifestation. Even like, and the example drawn for this is your dream. See, in your dream, all of the objects are spun by you. And you are your dream. You are sort of invested in your dream. It is nothing but you. Your subconscious mind has cooked up everything. So, this is how this is the analogy Advaita Vedanta uses to explain he has verily become his dream, this universe. He is all that there is. And yet, not just he is all that there is, he alone is. The rest are name and form superimposed on him. He is the actual essence of this universe. And yet, you can't limit him even to this. Sabhumim Vishwato Vritva Atyatishta Dashangulam. Purusha Suktam in Rigveda says this. Which means, although he pervades this entire universe, although he is this universe, he also transcends this universe. You can't limit him with anything. He is the unlimited. Because you see, with what will you limit him? With what will you bind him? Time, space, causation are his creation, through which we are functioning and working and thinking. So he is limitless, he is boundless, he is the free one, he is the infinite one. He cannot even be described. Yet it is only he who manifests as everything. So this is the conception of Ishvara or God in Vedanta. He is all that there is, and essentially he is nothing but Brahman, through Maya appearing as all of this. He is nothing but Sat, Chit and Anand, Swarup. He is existence itself, he is consciousness itself, and he is bliss itself, appearing as all of this. And as I said, the appearances can be as per the need of the jivas. So he also comes in a human body, he comes as a Vyakti. That's when we call him an avatar. He shows the highest divine attributes even through a human body. So he is a combination of the personal and impersonal. He is a combination of the form and formless, and again he is beyond all this. You know, when Sri Ramakrishna was once asked, is God with form or without form? He said, he is with form, he is without form, and again he is beyond both. And he is many other things besides. So this means to say, you see, then he gives a very beautiful illustration to show what exactly he means. He says, you see, this, when you go to the ocean, there is water all around. But when there is a cooling influence, when it's very cold, the same water condenses into ice. You have icebergs. Again, when the sun rises, the iceberg melts into water again. So also, the water of divine consciousness, Brahman, it condenses into ice, a particular form, according to the cooling influence of the bhakta, the devotee mind. Because he is the God of love. He is the God of compassion. And again, when the sun of knowledge arises, he melts, the form melts into the formless again. So Ishvara is like that. The nature of God is like that. He is all loving. He is all encompassing. He is all inclusive. He comes according to the needs of the devotee, and at the same time, he is the impersonal one. Ahamatma Gudakesha Sarvabhuta Shayasthitaha. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, I am that verily that Atman who is in all beings. Mamaivansho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. My own part, my own being has become this Jiva, insinuating as the Jiva. It is me alone. If you read the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord describes himself to Arjuna as being the best of everything that you will find on earth. And at the same time, he transcends all of this. So this is his nature. He is verily all that there is. The reality about everything is God. Name and form belong to the realm of Maya. In conjunction with Maya, we consider the world to be separate, God to be separate, and the self to be separate. So, in these three systems of Dvaita, Vishishta Dvaita and Advaita, you find very clear understanding of what Vedanta is calling God. When you are positioned as a Jiva, identified with one body and mind, God obviously for you is another greater personality, isn't it? The Supreme Godhead coming in the form of a person. So you can relate with God only in that way. When you are beyond sense identification, body identification, you can consider yourself to be a part of Him. He is the whole, you are a part. So this is actually the Vishishta Dvaitic position. The former one was the Dvaitic position. And when you know yourself to be the Atman, you are verily non-different from Brahman. You are verily non-different from Brahman, because it is Brahman alone that appears as Atman in every being, because we tend to think in terms of body and mind. So this is a beautiful expression put into the words of Hanumanji. Once it seems Lord Shri Ram asked Hanumanji, how do you look upon me? And Hanumanji gave this very beautiful expression. He said, Deha buddhya dasosmi, Jiva buddhya tvad-amshakaha, Atma buddhya tvamevaham iti me nishchitamati. As long as I consider myself to be the body and the Jiva, which means a sort of localized consciousness encapsulated in a body and mind and identified with it, so long you are Deha buddhya dasosmi. As long as I think I am the Jiva, I am your servant. That's the only way you can relate with God, through a relationship like this. And when I know myself to be a part of you, you the whole and I am a part, then he says that like the sun and its rays, just like how the rays belong to the sun, so also I am a part of you, I belong to you. That's the Vishishta Dvaitic position. And the third is, when I know myself to be the Atman, then I am verily you. Then there's no difference between me and you. So the exact position of Dvaita, Vishishta Dvaita and Advaita has been explained beautifully in this verse, and also how exactly we are given to perceive reality. This is what we understand. It will be according to the position of the Jiva, how exactly you perceive yourself. In that way alone you will be able to relate with reality. So the essential point is, that is why we say self-realization leads to the highest realization of God consciousness, Brahma Jnana, Brahma Vidya, whatever. When you know who you truly are, you can relate with reality as it is. Until then, you will be relating with reality as you wish it to be. So this knowledge, Vedanta alone gives us the understanding, perfect understanding of the concept of God, Ishvara. And that is why every concept of Ishvara, every aspect of God is real. It is true. It is to be respected. It is accepted. And there should not be divisions regarding this. So we will end today's session here. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace, peace, peace.